Hello, this is Marcia Howard with John Broughton on Retrospectives, KC Radio 97.7 FM.
We've been together such a long time now. You made a promise.
What are your memories of growing up and having, for the first time, having music start to play an important part of your life?
Well, it's sort of my earliest memory because my mother's a musician and a singer, you see. So we always played and sang as a family. She played the big church organ and we'd all sing, and, the only way you could get to hear your own voice as a harmony was to sing harmony. And we did lots of weddings, kitchen teas, parties, anything.
The Irish connection has been evident in your solo work. How aware were you of your Irish heritage when growing up?
Very, I think, because where we are in Warrnambool in southwest Victoria, there's, basically the second wave of the famine in 1854, a lot of people from a 50-mile radius in Limerick and Clare came out here. They came to Geelong and then got Cobb and Co coach to Port Fairy. And, a few would come out and they would contact relatives back home and say, look, it's good here, send some more on. That's basically what happened.
How much has Brother Shane been an influence on how you approach your music?
Well, I've got 5 brothers and 1 sister, and he's sort of older than me. So he was sort of my closest influence, I guess, musically, growing up. And, he always played guitar and wrote songs. And, he taught me guitar. I learnt piano and singing classically, but he was a big influence, introducing Jackson Browne, Bob Dylan, Joni Mitchell, all those artists.
Uh-huh. So what point did you join Goanna? Were they already established at that point?
Shane had Goanna going in Geelong, and I remember I booked them for the Form 5 social down here in 1978. So I was still at school when he started the band. So when I went to Teachers College in Melbourne, I joined up with them.
Uh-huh. Do you remember the first time you heard solid rock?
I do. Shane had just come back from the rock and he was at his house, and I came over and he played me the song, and he said, would you get up and sing it with me tonight in the band? And I said, okay, righto. So that's how it started.
Did it surprise you the commercial success the song had?
It was. We built the following in Geelong, in Melbourne, over the years, and the crowds kept increasing. And 3XY was big then, all those commercial stations. Mm. And all of a sudden they broke the song, and, it had incredible national success. So it was really surprising. To hear yourself on radio for the first time is pretty amazing. I'll never forget that. That
first album it still stands up as one of the great debut albums of its time. From a band point of view, do you remember feeling pretty confident that you had something special there?
Absolutely. Yeah. They were great songs. Shane was a great writer, and of course Rose Bygrave too. And we had time to hone our sound, I think, which is evident on that album. Mm. That was the sound that we're pretty much playing in pubs, and the album is a good example of that live sound.
You got to work with Trevor Lucas, a legendary figure in Australian folk music. How do you remember working with him?
Oh, Trevor was gorgeous. He was such a mentor and really supportive of us, very gentle spirit, and had a lot of experience. It was great working with him because he came out of a folk tradition. Mm. And Tony Battelle, the engineer, was a drummer. So I think he produced some pretty good drumming sounds on that album too, and overall sound as an engineer. But Trevor was a great mentor and producer and father figure, I guess, if you like. Affectionately known as Uncle Bulgaria.
Was it disappointing that the second album didn't match the commercial success of the first?
It was disappointing commercially and, of course, financially for us, but I think it's still a great body of work for its time. And that was the time, of course, when the transition happened from analog sound to digital, and synthesizers came in, which changed the sound of music, if you remember.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm. You had Bill Payne from Little Feat involved on that set too, didn't you?
Bill came over and produced that album, we'd met Bill. Well, we knew of his work with Little Feat, of course, and we were Little Feat fans and used to cover one of their songs in the band, a couple of their songs.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, Billy had been working with James Taylor, and we worked with James Taylor in 81 on his Fire and Rain tour.
Mm-hmm, that's right.
And that's where the record company spotted us and signed us, WEA, Warner's. So it was fantastic working with Billy, you know, particularly as a keyboard player. He is such a great musician and keyboard player.
So what was keeping you busy in between the demise of Goanna and your first solo album?
That's a big gap.
That's a big gap, yeah.
Yeah. No, I went out and played solo for a long time after Goanna finished.
Mm.
And of course, we're in debt when it finished, so I had to pay off quite a few bills. So I went and pursued solo work to try and hone my own sound, I guess. And then I worked with Punter to Punter, Slim and Con, Clam Bakes, and worked with Shane on his first solo album, Back to the Track, and
of course, yeah.
Worked with him all the way along. This is his 9th solo album he's just released now, so that's been a pretty close association over the years. And I worked on a lot of people's albums. I've sung backing on a lot of people's albums in between. And I had children. Yeah.
Of course,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, so that kept me pretty busy.
I'm sure it would. All that work playing, singing, backing for other people, do you think in hindsight that's helps you with your solo work, being able to sit back and watch other people record? And
I think it really helps you from a production point of view,
yeah.
Because you have more time to kind of analyse and look at the way people work. You know, every songwriter and every album that you do, they approach it differently. So that was the interesting part of being able to observe writers and them making albums.
So when you got around to recording Butterfly, you must have accumulated a fair stockpile of songs?
I had over the years. A lot I didn't record. It was interesting when Eva Cassidy's first solo CD came out. I'd actually been doing a lot of those songs live, but never recorded them. So I waited a long time to do Butterfly because I really wanted to do something that was my own and, you know, unique in its own right.
What criteria did you use in the song selection for that debut?
Well, some of those songs have been kicking around for a long time. Some of them were more recent. I've been working with the Plowers, you know, my brother Damien Howard and his band.
Yeah.
So a lot of them are on that album. And, of course, Rose is there and Shane's there and Dave Steele, who I'd been working with as well, who was in Archie Roach's band. So it was basically coming together of a lot of musicians I'd worked with over the years, people that I really enjoyed working with.
So have you managed to balance a music career and parenthood pretty well over the years?
Well, you have to, don't you?
Yeah.
I think, yeah, as a woman too, it's even more challenging, I think, you know, as a mother. And as a single parent, it's challenging because I can't go out and tour like a lot of people can, you know, having children. And that's my choice, which I choose to be around with them. But I get to do festivals, which are great on weekends. So I've been doing a lot of festivals over the years.
Yeah.
And that's easier to juggle than going out and working or touring during the week.
And that must be great for attracting new audiences too, because you're getting people there that haven't specifically come to see you, but by the end of the day...
Yeah, and the relief is it's an instant audience. You know you're going to have an audience. You're not going out there trying to promote it and taking the financial risk either. You know that there's going to be a guaranteed audience.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which is a relief.
Talk about your songwriting. What aspect of your songwriting do you think you labour over the most?
I really, you know, the lyrics are very important to me. They always have been. I mean, Shane is a great writer. He's had a big influence on my writing, I guess, and my singing style. But also, like Joni Mitchell, I've been a fan of Joni Mitchell ever since I was really young, and I love the way her lyrics actually made you feel, and, you know, she's so emotive and such a great musician as well. She's constantly exploring musically, which I love about her work, you know.
Mm-hmm. Is there a heavy editing process in your writing?
It depends. It depends. Sometimes the words will flow. Sometimes they take years you know. Sometimes it's instant, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you look at it and you go, no, that's not working, no. But basically, hopefully it comes from a feeling that you carry through and try to stay true too.
Mm. In general, have you found a best time of day for songwriting?
Late at night.
Yeah.
When everyone's asleep and the dishes are done.
Yeah.
And dinner's finished.
Uh-huh. So it does revolve about working around the schedule.
Well, sometimes, yeah. Look, you know, I'm not the most prolific writer in the world, and I'm not afraid to do other people's songs either, and I still work with a lot of people as a backing singer. So, you know, I'm still doing other people's albums. I've just done a couple lately, you know, and I worked on Damien, my brother's new solo album called One, and Dave Arden, who's a cousin of Archie Roach. I've just worked on his solo album, and we've got a new CD out down here called Tara, which is the Indigenous word for an area down here, and that contains a lot of songwriters from this area, like Amy Saunders, who was in Titters.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And Archie Roach, and Shane, of course, and Andy Alberts, and a lot of local artists. Patricia Clark, who I worked on Butterfly with. So, yeah, there's a lot going on down here. It's a good part of the world to be in. And we've got rain.
Is it raining now?
We've got rain. Not a lot, but it is raining.
It's trying very hard to do that here. I'm looking at it out the window, but it hasn't come yet.
Where are you, John?
At Narry Warren.
Narry Warren.
Yeah, studios here at Cranbourne, which is just down the road.
Right,
Just at the other side of Dandenong.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, you're headed up to the other peninsula, aren't you?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Someone you've had a great connection with in recent time, Mary Black.
Mary?
Yeah, how did you first link up with her?
Well, Mary, Shane toured with Mary in 91, I think it was, first of all. She was out here. And I went to see her at Dallas Brooks Hall with Shane, and of course met her. And Mary came, then Shane brought her down to the Port Fairy Folk Festival.
Mm-hmm.
And she came and stayed at I had a bed and breakfast there when the kids were little in Port Fairy. And she came and stayed with us. And a lot of the musicians would stay with us, so we'd have great sessions in the house. So we had a great session when she was down with her musicians. And, got to know Mary then. And, of course, she's been out since, and I've caught up with her, you know, over the years. And then she asked me to open for her after she heard Butterfly, she asked me to open for her in Dublin at the Olympia Theatre. She was doing a DVD. So I went and did 5 nights there with her, and I'm on the recent DVD she's done.
That's right,
at that show.
Yeah. Were you quite familiar with her work beforehand?
I was, because I'd known her for such a long time. It was 10 years by the time I went to Dublin. So then I came home and she rang me again and she said, look, will you come back? That was in the following September, and said, will you come back and do Poison Tree? It was, I'd put music to a William Blake poem, and she said, I want to do a song for the Woman's Heart, CD A Decade On, and I'd love to sing it with you. I think we'd sound good together. And I said, of course, I'll be there. So, yeah, I went back to Dublin and we did that. And, of course, that's when I started work with Steve Cooney, who I'd known through Shane, the song I'd written for the Spirit of Place, Spirit Returns album in 98, the Goanna song. Steve Cooney and Liam O'Mahony from Hot House Flowers had played on that. So Steve and I met up and he said, why don't we record some of your new songs? So next thing I know, he pulled me into a studio in Dublin and we started. On Burning in the Rain. Yeah,
which is just an outstanding work, and it must have been a real labour of love for you.
It was. It took me 2 years to do, because I went back in the following summer when I could, with the children, and then I went back the summer after that. So it took a long time, took 2 years, but it was wonderful to work with him and with all the great musicians that are on it. It was a real treat. And, of course, Mary does backing vocals on a lot of those tracks. Mm. And Maria Dawn Kennedy, she was in The Commitments.
Yes,
yeah. So wonderful to have those people and have their support on your work.
Obviously, it was essential for you that the travelling to and from Ireland, you were prepared to wait out the album to get that done that way?
I was.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it could have been done a lot sooner had you stayed home, but it was a matter of working with the people you wanted to work with.
That's right, and good things take time, don't they?
Yeah, that's right.
A lot of faith and patience. Yeah, but look, it was wonderful going back to Ireland and sort of rediscovering the land of my ancestors. That was very powerful for me.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful to Mary for that, and to Steve.
Would it be your proudest moment in music, that album?
I think so, yeah. I think, I mean, it's all a journey, isn't it? That's the great part of doing it. It has its highs and its lows, but the great part is those people you meet along the way, and the associations and the music you make together as a team.
Now, away from music, I believe you've been doing a bit of teaching.
I teach music 3 days a week down here at the secondary school I went to school at.
Wow.
Yeah, so that keeps me anchored here, and my daughter's at the same school that I teach at, so...
That's all very handy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm glad to be... it's great to be home and amongst your own people.
Do you find teaching music can be a bit of a learning experience for yourself as well?
I think it's great when you actually get to a point where all these children can actually play keyboard, or they can sing, or, you know, you get to the end of the year and you do a performance, and that's pretty rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's coming up in the near future? You're already thinking about the next record?
I am at the moment, yeah. So January is a good time for me in the summer to actually do some work, do some recording. It's always a good time to play some music. And I've been working a bit with Damien, as I said, my younger brother, and his solo album's beautiful, One. And we've been writing a bit together. I've written a couple of songs on his album. So we continue to work together and write together as well. And Shane, of course, I record out there a bit with him and on his new album. So we keep busy. And
no doubt we'll see you on the festival circuit too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Port Fairy. Hopefully I'll have this third album done for Port Fairy. That's what I'm hoping.
Oh, it's that close?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, so hopefully that's the plan. We'll see how we go.
Fantastic. Marcia, thanks so much for your time. I won't keep you any longer. It's obviously a busy time of year with Christmas coming up. But
John, thanks for your support. I appreciate it, and I wish everybody out there a really happy Christmas.
And to you,
and a safe one.
Congratulations on two wonderful solo albums to date, and we will look forward to the new one in the new year.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, Marcia.
Bye.
All the best. Bye-bye.